knew that he called us to adopt, but I just was like, okay, now feels like maybe the right time for us to start it. And I really felt the Lord say, yeah, this is the time for you to pursue it. So my husband came home from work that evening, and I was like, hey, I just wanted to ask, do you think that we could start praying about if this is the right time for us to pursue adoption? And he said, I mean, we can pray about it, but let's go. Let's do it. And I was like, great. I've already contacted an agency in Nashville. And there's a meeting next month. And he was like, great, let's go. Let's do it. And I was like, okay, good. I'm really glad.
Hi, and welcome to the Ordinary Brave podcast. We're so glad that you've joined us today. And today's guest, we're going to be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's adoption. As I've shared on here, that we've adopted 2 of our children, one international, one domestic, 2 totally different experiences and circumstances. But adoption has just brought a lot of joy to our family. And also some hardship, I'll be honest with that. You know, adoption is not always easy. A lot of people think of it as a fairy tale, but there's a lot of trauma and struggles that come in with it too. But we're very blessed by that experience in our family and the way God has used it to grow all of us in many different ways. Mm-hmm. But I have my friend Elizabeth Bucher here to share. She's also a fellow adoptive mama, but also is helping run the Hope Adoption agency here in Cookeville, and I want her to share a little bit of both. So thank you for being here, Elizabeth.
Thanks for having me.
Well, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your family and your adoption experience.
Okay. So it's been the end of this year. It'll be 7 years that we adopted our son from South Korea. He is going to be 9 next month. He was 2 years old when we adopted him from South Korea. My husband and I, we have 2 biological daughters, and then our son Bryn, he's our youngest. He's about to turn 9. So adoption was just something that the Lord placed on my heart when I was a little girl. Honestly, it was on my heart for a long time. My family, we grew up doing international missions as well, and we spent 5 consecutive summers in Ukraine where we worked in orphanages with children. We put on summer camps for them. And so I really got to see the need firsthand. We did that. And then in college, I went with a group to Uganda, and we worked in the slums, and we worked with orphanages there as well. And so God just continued to grow that in my heart. I didn't know what it would look like and when it would happen. And it was one of the first questions when my husband and I started dating. I said to him, I feel called to adoption. What do you think about that? And that was kind of like a test where I was like, let's see if he passes. And he did. So my oldest daughter was 5. My youngest daughter, our middle now, she was 2 when we started the process. There was just one day I was just praying, spending some time with the Lord and praying and just asking him about the future of our family and just the timing. And I knew that he'd called us to adopt, but I just was like, okay, now feels like maybe the right time for us to start it. And I really felt the Lord say, yeah, this is the time for you to pursue it. So my husband came home from work that evening, and I was like, hey, I just wanted to ask, do you think that we could start praying about if this is the right time for us to pursue adoption? And he said, I mean, we can pray about it, but let's go. Let's do it. And I was like, great. I've already contacted an agency in Nashville. And there's a meeting next month. And he was like, great, let's go. Let's do it. And I was like, okay, good. I'm really glad. I'm glad that was your answer. And little did we know that actually that very day that we decided that, hindsight, we didn't know until later, it was the day that our son was born.
Oh, wow.
Korea. And so it's Christian, my husband's birthday is June 16th. Our son's birthday is June 18th. Our anniversary is June 20th. And it was that day. It was right in between. And so we didn't know that at the time. Of course, he had just been born in South Korea. So I had always had a heart for China. I really thought that I thought we would adopt a girl from China. We went to the meeting. It was Bethany Christian Services who did our home study and everything. We adopted through Holt Korea is the agency that our son was placed with. So we went to the first intake meeting, and they said, there's actually an urgent need for little boys to be adopted out of Korea. And we were like, oh, well, okay. Well, we'll pray about it. And just prayed. And we're like, okay, well, we were thinking China, but, we're open. We're open to Korea. Just prayed about it. And the Lord just really confirmed to us that that's what he had for us. And then started the whole home study process. That took close to a year. So we were matched with our son in, it would have been October 2018. And then it was a whole year before we were able to go to Korea and meet him. Korea required at the time that you take 2 trips.
That's what I was just about to ask, because I know certain countries have different rules and regulations. So I didn't know if you had to go twice.
Yes, we did. So our first trip there was to meet him. He was in foster care, so he was with a foster family. They were absolutely precious. They were actually about my parents' age, so it was like he was being raised by grandparents. They were believers. They had been foster parents for 30 years, and they'd had over 30 placements. So that gave us so much peace of mind. Sure. We knew that he was well loved and well cared for during that long year that it took for us to be able to go meet him. So the day that they sent us his file, the first time that we saw his face, we saw a picture of him. We also, that very same day, I had gone and checked the mail, and we had gotten a grant from Show Hope that very same day. And just the timing and just confirmation like that, we were just like, thank you, Lord. Like, this is was just amazing. So our first trip was October 2018. So we went there to meet him, meet his foster family, and then go to court. So we went to court. We were there with 13 other families. We all had a court date. And I'll never forget, because we homeschooled, that's not a thing in Korea. And the judge was very curious about the fact that we homeschooled and asked us through a translator all these questions. And we were like, is this going to be a problem? Like, nobody prepared us for this. We came out to the hallway where all the other families were waiting. And they were like, did everything go okay? You guys were in there way longer than everybody else has been. And we were like, well, we don't know, actually. They were very interested in the fact that we homeschooled. So the translator ended up coming over to us afterwards, and she was like, everything's fine. The judge was just very curious about it because we don't have that here. And I was like, okay, well, that was a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
We literally were like, is this going to be a problem? And they're like, it's okay. So that was our first trip. We got to meet our son twice while we were there. He had no interest in us at all. Was not interested in us at all. It was pretty funny. He set off the fire alarm while we were there at the agency. And it's just funny because hindsight, my husband and I were like, that was a good indicator for what we had coming for us. He turned our world upside down. So we said goodbye to him and didn't know when we were going to get to go back for custody.
And how long was that wait between the first and the second?
It ended up only being about a month.
Okay.
A very long month, though, obviously, because we were waiting. But I remember our agency calling us and being like, okay, book your flights. It's time to go. And they gave us the choice of what days. And we were like, the soonest one, we'll get there. So we went back December 10th. We went back to get him and picked him up from the agency. The agency called a taxi for us. We met his foster parents, had a suitcase of all of his things. We said goodbye to them. That it was a Christian agency. Holt is a Christian agency that we went through, and they prayed with us. And literally, the foster mom was hugging me and holding me for a very long time, and we cried together for a long time. And Bryn jumped in the taxi and was like, let's go. Come on. So Christian climbs in with him, and Christian's like, he's ready. I think we should go. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So we get in the taxi with him, get back to the hotel. He is, and this is just who he is. Everything's a party. Life's a party to him. He just thought the hotel was awesome. We took him, there was a pool there. We took him swimming. He'd never been swimming before. Everything's an adventure. He's still like that. Everything's an adventure. It was great. So we were only in the country for 3 days. We had to go and get his visa, do all of those sort of things, which is super fun to do with the 2-year-old, be at those meetings. And then we flew out the next morning, and it is a 16-hour flight. And he did not sleep a wink on the flight. He didn't cry. We were like, he's not crying. We don't care. If he's awake, it's fine. At one point, I remember him turning around and just starting to throw things at the people behind us. And we were like, we don't even care. We didn't even apologize. We were just like, it is what it is. It doesn't. He's cute. The people weren't mad. We were just in it. It's fine. Landed in Detroit. Had to go through immigration and all that. And then a quick flight from Detroit to Nashville. He finally fell asleep on the airplane in Detroit in my arms. And I remember the flight attendant coming and I was like, do not come near me. Do not tell me that I have to move him. Do not. He has been awake. We've all been awake for over 24 hours. Don't mess with us. So he slept whole flight into Nashville, slept getting off the plane. We had friends and family waiting for us, slept through his welcome party, slept through us transferring him to the car seat, slept the car ride from Nashville back to our house, woke up right as we pulled in to the driveway, got to meet his sisters. It was like they had known each other their whole lives.
Aww.
I mean, he definitely, and I remember being like, I'm not going to let this hurt my feelings. He definitely liked his sisters way better than he liked me for like a long time. But I was like, you know what? I don't care because he's bonding with somebody.
Yeah.
And that's all that really matters. The attachment and bonding is happening. He'll come around. He wouldn't say, he wouldn't call me mom he had a very strong attachment with his foster mom. And so I knew that it was going to be hard. He called my husband dad, which that made all three of my children who said dad first. I was like, I can't get anybody to say mom first. Called Christian dad from day one. Did not call me mom for a couple of months. And then when he finally did call me mom, I was so excited that I overreacted and I scared him. And then he wouldn't call me mom for a little while after that. And I was like, I have really blown it. Like this is a problem. But after attachment and bonding, I mean, so that was December, right before Christmas, when we brought him home. My husband didn't have any time off work after that, had to go right back to work. But then COVID hit. And, we were doing our nesting, the nesting period that they recommend that you do, that you really just stay home and just keep them close.
I always called it cocooning.
Cocooning. Yeah. That period there where you're just, holding them close. And tried to have him sleep in bed with us, but he had night terrors. And we were like, okay, maybe we'll sleep on the floor together. We'll do that instead. Yeah. But then, COVID hit and my husband was working from home. We were all home, the world shut down. And it was the best thing for our attachment and bonding, though. I mean, his language skills, the age that he was at, too, his language just picked up super fast. He wasn't fluent in Korean anyways, but it just was all in all. I mean, there was, as you know, there's hard days. I mean, the transition period is hard. We joke about it now. It's hilarious now. We joke about it now. But my middle daughter was 4 when we brought Bryn home, and he'd been home for about 2 weeks. And she looked at me and she was like, yeah, this has been fun, but when's he going back? And I was like, yeah, he's not. Remember, this is for keeps. Yeah. And she was like, oh boy. And I was like, it was no surprise that she was having a hard time. We all knew that. We called it the dethroning process. It's hard to give her being the baby and share the attention and everything, but they're all best friends. And just watching the way the Lord was very gracious with us during the whole that whole season. And just, it was super interesting too. It's a unique experience with a child that English is not their first language, watching him pick up the language, watching him learn my voice and learning his dad's voice and learning like our tones and like what it meant and stuff. I can remember him studying us so much, like when he would just watch us and watch our body language. And I just remember the Lord saying to me, like, that's how in tune I want you to be with me. Aww. That you can you're watching and you're seeing and you know me that well and you can know me that closely.
And that's part 1 with my friend Elizabeth Bucher that just shared her story of their family's adoption of their son Bryn from South Korea. We're going to have her back on for part 2 where she's going to share about the Hope Adoption Agency here in Cookeville. We hope that you enjoyed the podcast today. We'll see you next time.